Hey Francis, John Mueller here with Get on the Track. Just wanted to do a quick review of your last fast lap, your last personal best in your GT3 at Harris Hill. Just want to say, really nice job. The 120, just got to break that 120 mark. I do see some things here that I think we can probably improve, and I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to get out there and work with you on them. Obviously, it's always a rough time driving a GT3. Anyway, I do see some things here that I think will help you, and hopefully we can put them into practice and see what happens on your next visit to Harris Hill. So that said, we're going to go ahead and get rolling. I did a clip here. This is your 120.03, I believe it was, getting so close to that 119 mark. Anyway, so this is the start of it. We're entering onto the front straight. Let's go ahead and let it run. All right. That's obviously really good coming through turn 11, carrying full throttle there. What I'm seeing repeatedly from you here is honestly, I think you're early on the turn in. This is a pretty natural tendency here. And what that's doing is it's preventing you from setting up well for turn two while really not providing you any benefit here. So if you see, you're already starting to move the car away from track edge. And we'll see if we see the hand movement. Boom, boom. All right. So I think if you slow this down a little bit and just make this a slightly later apex, it's actually going to benefit you. It won't force you to use as much of the track edge on exit for turn one. So just delay that turn in slightly, moving down and then doing a good job of getting down to that apex, getting over there. But again, I think the key thing is your setup is a little bit off. So slow down a little bit on that turn in. Just pause a little bit longer before you turn that car in. Everything else is looking good. I do suspect you need some brake in the GT3 just to set that nose and get the front end grip. But if you watch here, that turn into turn one kind of sacrifices a lot through here. So we're moving our way back to the left side. I'm actually going to mute this because it might give us some weird feedback here. But as you come out here, what is preventing you from doing is getting a good setup to the turn in for turn two. And then honestly, it's going to seem weird, but I think your turn in here, because you're not making it to track left a little bit more, you're kind of sacrificing here. And then your turn in for turn two is actually a little bit lazy. So what I mean by that is I'm fairly confident you're going to miss the apex here by a few feet. I think probably close to 5 feet. And I actually like to get up close to that curbing. And so by basically it's a weird situation, but this happens a lot. It can happen at Coda. So your turn in for turn one, because it's early, it makes you late for turn two. And so basically all of this started with turn one. So be slightly later on the turn in for turn one, and that's going to allow you to set up and get a little bit closer to turn two apex through here. And it's weird, but you actually have to make that turn in and that adjustment into turn two a little bit earlier, getting you closer to the apex here. So I want to be very close to the track edge here. And what that does is it buys you a little bit of additional room on the left-hand side here. It buys you additional track space in order to let the car out. And then what I do as well is what's happening with elevation. The car is settling in this area right here. The car basically compresses. You get additional grip, and I use that additional grip to get more turn angle through here. So just something to consider. I think your setup for turn one is affecting you through this entire thing. So this entire complex up to turn three. Other than that, so what that'll allow you to do is carry just a little bit more speed here because you'll be closer. You'll have more width by getting tighter to that apex. Coming through here, everything's looking good. Boom. And that's exactly what I do. We get track right to soften that bump. And then, yeah, heading straight for the turn-in point on the hill there. All right, coming into turn four, what I'm noticing here And again, this is we've had this discussion. You're dealing with a very expensive car. We kind of like preserving the car coming up here, but I do think you can brake a little bit later here. And my justification for that is watch what happens as you come up over the hill. I use this flat spot over the hill as an area to perform additional trail braking. So I'm slowing the car all the way through here, whereas you've already started to go back to the throttle before, like the apex, if you look, the apex is way all the way around here. And so I would suggest delaying braking a little bit further and using this area here at the top of turn four for additional braking rather than this is effectively like it's for lack of a better term, even though you're on the throttle, you're coasting. So if you look, you're 51, 52, 53, right? So your min speed happened a lot earlier than it really needs to. And so I use the entire point from the top of the hill up to the apex as an area to bleed speed. And so then I'll get down to that 54 rather than getting down to like 51 early here. So carry some more speed and then try to trail break that car down to that apex at turn four. That's my suggestion there. Coming over the hill, honestly, I'm not seeing much in turn five that I wouldn't do. Everything here is looking good. Your line's good. Nice and patient on that throttle, knowing that just waiting until you got that opening and you know you can lay on the throttle for turn five, right down to that apex, and then seeing you track out, going down on that throttle nice and smooth. Fantastic job. Now here, I want to see, yep, you kind of do it again. So this is coming through. So notice what happened with your throttle there, right? Like it was, there's a little bit of hesitation here, and then it's like boom, wait, boom, and then you hammer on that throttle. What I would suggest is keep working your way up. And again, this is tough because you're doing freaking 110 miles an hour. You're hauling through here. But what I would suggest is use your vision and look further ahead here, look out, and then try to get that throttle down. A lot of people tend to focus on that apex. Start looking for that track out cone and even start trying to look for the turn in cone for turn seven. Coming through six, I think what I'm getting at is I'm seeing some hesitation on that throttle, and then there's that confidence of like, boom, I'm gonna go on the throttle. Rather than doing that, try carrying more throttle, right? Like rather than being at 50% throttle and then being like, okay, cool, I'm good, whack it open to 100. Try carrying 75% through here, right? And then eke up on it, right? Because here you're down to 34%, right? And I get you're probably trying to get front grip or you're trying to manage traction here, but being the fact that you're able to whack the throttle open like that means that there was additional grip and additional drive that you could have had. So just as you go through six, try to build that confidence, and you're going to get that confidence by looking further ahead here, looking further through that corner. If things start to happen, if the car starts to rotate, you're going to be ready for it because you're going to notice it a lot sooner. So I think you're giving up a little bit of time at six, and I'll reassert that given the fact that you're now down to 107 where you entered at 109. So giving up some speed there, and then obviously you're going to have to brake harder for turn seven. In turn seven, I'm going to reiterate the same thing that I said for turn four, which is I'd love to see you carry a bit more trail braking here. Watch this. So here, boom, 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 and then you're already starting to go on the throttle. Typically, I'm trying to carry the trail braking down up to like here. And then typically it's at this, if I do it right, my lowest, my min speed through the corner happens probably just before these red and white rumble strips on the track or on the on the apex of turn seven. And so I start going to the throttle, I start squeezing the throttle on in this zone here where you've already started carrying throttle like well before that apex. And that just tells me that you're giving up some speed, right? Like, and so we can even see that again. because we see your min speed here at 48 way before that apex, right? And then it's like 50 and 52. I think and again, I want to get out there with you to play, but I think that what we could do is honestly see you brake and reducing speed through here, and that would also provide you a little bit more front end grip for the car in order to make sure it's turning as you come through here. So that's my recommendation for turn 7. Turn 8, I think you're pretty good on the dam turn. Don't see much here. Like you're doing. I'd like to see a little closer to the apex there, right? Like that's one place where your line could be a little bit better. And I I tend to be a little bit closer into the track. I'm a little further away from track edge here. Only reason is because I there's a little bit of a camber change here on that outside. I find that I can typically get a little bit better grip if I'm at about 2/3 of the way across the track rather than like 3/4 or 4/5. So maybe try adjusting your line, be a little bit tighter. And then hopefully that'll give you a little bit more grip as you come through here. And then obviously with the elevation change of the track, the car is going to start compressing right through this zone here, just after the dam, right? The dam is obviously the low spot of that turn. And then once you hit that low spot, you start getting compression, more grip through here. And then I'd just like to see a little bit closer to that apex, tracking out here, boom, rolling that throttle on nice and smooth. And then coming through here, getting a bit more confidence on that throttle coming through turn 9. And one more time, I'm going to knock you here for watch your trail braking through here. It goes off almost at turn in, right? The brake comes off pretty much at turn in, and then we're starting to find some maintenance. We're working on trying to get some maintenance throttle and get some acceleration here. Same thing here. It's kind of nice because they literally like almost color code the track here. I'm usually starting to roll the throttle on just before those the red and white rumble strips there. So ideally, I'd be at like 46 miles an hour, but I'd be slowing down to 46 miles an hour up to that apex. So again, if you can, it takes some confidence, but start trying to use some more trail braking through this whole section here rather than going onto the throttle earlier. So basically the concept is changing your min speed to later in the corner. Okay, so coming through here, everything's looking good. You swing out a little bit, which is you might even, just as a heads up, you might be able to exaggerate that right turn a little bit further. So bring it out maybe even a car width to the right-hand side. And the reason that I advocate for that, I learned this from Steve Metz. If you bring the car out a little bit wider and buy yourself a little bit more room on the right-hand side and open up that arc coming through 11, you're not going to have to lift on the throttle as much coming through here. You may be able to keep it flat. And granted, you're keeping it pretty darn flat through there. So overall, really nice lap. I'm just hoping, again, man, we're looking for 3/100ths of a second. I think that just starting to change those behaviors slightly, even something as simple as making that turn in for turn 1 a little bit later and getting that 1, 2, 3 section a little bit more dialed, that's going to get you into those 119s. So overall, really great lap. Just always fun watching and always fun trying to see where you can gain some time. And look forward to getting back out with you and hopefully trying to find that time with you.